a lot of people hold gold as an inflation hedge, but the movements of gold prices don't predict inflation very well, actually. I think psychologically, the gold price going down is not necessarily a bad thing from that perspective. It suggests people have somewhat more confidence and are less concerned about really bad outcomes. But let me just end by saying that nobody really understands gold prices, and I don't pretend to really understand them either.
Dr. Paul, if you were on that committee, how would you have responded to Chairman Bernanke?
I would say, yeah, you're right. It doesn't do a lot of good on the short run from day to day on saying what the gold price is telling us. But I would still stick to my argument that gold is a real good long-term identifier on the value of a currency and the value of our dollar. I mean, if you look at the 100 years, it's very easy. $20 up to $1,800, now still $1,300, and we're printing money faster than ever. And there's pretty good evidence right now there's a shortage of physical gold. The physical gold market has always been strong, and that's going to continue. This is going to be sorted out. And after these corrections, sometimes you see an explosion. Even though I'm not into as a technician on gold, I suspect that could happen. But I think long-term you can expect governments not to change. We're going to see more Detroits. Eventually, the government of the United States will be somewhat similar to Detroit because people will give up their confidence in us. They're going to give up confidence in the dollar, and eventually they'll give up confidence on our military, and then you are going to see some real changes in this system, which has been built on a fiat dollar for the last 40 years.
Dr. Paul, you mentioned the Detroit bankruptcy, and you said that may not be the last one that we're going to see. How do you think this story plays out, not only in Detroit, but also nationally?
Well, I'll be surprised if the feds don't come in. They probably won't say they are, but they're already in. I mean, think of all the welfare programs. Every time somebody's unemployed, they're going to get some benefits. The food stamps won't start, so the feds are very much involved. But there's going to be a lot more cities, and there will be a limit. It might push it over. If 10 cities declare tomorrow and the feds say, well, we can't let this happen, we got to bail them out like we bailed out the banks, 4 or 5 years ago, that could do great damage to the dollar. There's a limit that the markets will tolerate. I'm surprised that the markets have been rather tolerant. The Chinese have been tolerant. They still take our money. They still loan it back to us. But there's an end point, and nobody knows when that'll come. But I imagine we're getting closer and closer to it every single day.